Today is day 9 and we are going to talk about fantasy versus reality. So when you are going out on a date or looking for somebody, ask yourself, are you looking for somebody that is totally perfect and you have all of those 10 different criterias and you're like, okay, all of this has to match? There is something about manifesting. Yes, the person that you have in your mind, you will have. But if you have all of this nitty-gritty criteria, that person may not exist. Not only that, when you meet somebody, the most important thing to remember is you get what you see, meaning you don't want to fall for the potential. And what I mean by that is, people have values, and when they're in midlife, it's even harder to change the values. It's harder to change the values even before then, but by midlife, people have some set norms or beliefs. Values are built by the beliefs, and it is extremely difficult to change the beliefs that has been ingrained in them from childhood and then continued, right? And that's where the non-negotiable comes from for everybody. There could be 3 to 5 non-negotiables, like, this is absolutely, this is must. I remember when, I got married, I had the thing, my non-negotiable was that I absolutely wanted a kid. So if any guy I was coming across that, a lot of the things matched, but didn't want a kid, filtered out. But anyway, that's the first. Things are different in this channel. We talk about divorce, recovery, not only recovery, reinvention, because that's what I'm doing. If you guys have seen my other videos, and if you have not, I would highly encourage, especially if you just had divorce, you're still going through the recovery. I lost my marriage and executive job at the same time a year and a half ago. From there, I am living a thriving life right now. So I had done a lot of work on myself, not only in this year. I had 2 decades of study that helped me to get there much faster than I could even imagine. And that is what I help people with now through this channel, coaching, and other method. So all my journey is in 2024 playlist, and 2025 you guys will see it if you're interested. And also please do share with others too, because I have comments there that this is helping people in so many ways that I just feel so grateful, so grateful. Even last year at this time, it was so hard for me. I mean, in my wildest imagination, I couldn't see myself here today. So I can only thank God for that. And you guys are coming here, and some of you are there from the beginning. I feel deeply, appreciated. Your effort, your coming, your commenting, your checking and giving thumbs up and sharing, because every single week I see shares. So thank you. Okay, so without further ado, I'm gonna get started with the fantasy versus potential. So when you start going out on a date or start chatting with somebody, what tends to happen is we fall for that potential. It is because it's not our fault, it's our mind's fault. Because our mind is a fixer. So what happens is, the fantasy that comes from it's actually from childhood in a way, because we want to fix things. As our pain attracts the familiar, the inside wound and the pain that attracts the familiar pain, the person that we had before, we try to attract the same, thinking that, oh, I could not fix that person, but I'll be able to fix the other person. I'm sorry, but you guys know how that it doesn't work. It doesn't work, right? Sometimes it takes a few years to understand. Sometimes it could take decades to understand. And sometimes it can be very, very sad. I met somebody last year when I was attending many different things, starting from a boot camp to training courses to whatnot. Like, anyway, so one place I attended somebody who, since I'm not giving out the name, I think it's okay to share. they had 40 years of marriage, 40, 40. And 1 week before their 40th marriage anniversary is when their marriage fell apart. I mean, just imagine that. Imagine that. That's crazy, right? In some way. So anyway, but again, marriage, the divorce happens in mind a lot before the actual marriage falls apart. So anyway, so in our mind, we kind of start going for the same person unless we heal ourselves. We cannot change the world. We can only heal ourselves so that we attract the right person the next time. That's the goal, right? That is why we want to work on ourselves. And it's not about just finding the person. It's about you living a fulfilling and happy life, right? Because if you carry those emotions with you from point A to point B, then point B is going to become just like point A. There's no point, right? You're going to live the same life. So you got to start thinking and start asking yourself, the person that you're talking to, the person you're going out on a date with, are you looking for the person who they are right now, or you're looking for their potential? Oh, maybe this can get fixed, that can get fixed, that's an easy fix. No fixing, no zero fixing, right? And if you see that there's a lot of fixes are needed, that means it's not matching your non-negotiable. That means you move on from that. Don't waste your time, right? It may sound harsh, but that is the reality. If you are all in, just go all in, give some time and see how it goes. And if you're not in, come out of it, because if you're spending time here, that means you're not spending time, or you're not having enough time to look for the right person. So anyway, decide what are those non-negotiables, and from there start changing your thinking, not fantasy, but reality. What is that you're getting in reality, and see if that is what you want, that is matching with your non-negotiables. Speaking part is where the real shift happens. Thinking, we have about 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. So you are not going to be able to monitor all your thoughts, even if you want to. Through practice, through mindfulness, you will be able to have those two minds, because we have two minds going, and I'll tell you how. I'll explain it to you, it'll make sense. So, I'm holding a pen. Okay, this is simple. I'm holding a pen. I don't have to think about that. Oh, I have to hold the pen with these two fingers just like this so that it doesn't fall for the gravity. So that is the conscious mind, that I see that it's a pen. The subconscious mind is telling me this is how I need to hold it. Subconscious is almost like the body. The body knows what to do from training from over the years. When I was 1 year old, I didn't know that. And I had to learn when I grew, and now I'm in 40s, of course. So that's the point, like when I am aware, because normally subconscious is not even aware. So I'm not thinking that I'm holding this pen. So when my mind says that, oh, this is a pen and I'm also holding it, then both minds are in work. So imagine throughout our day, do you think about everything that you do? Do you pick up the cup to drink water or coffee and they think that, oh, I have to pick it up to drink? You don't, right? So that's what I'm talking about. You are not going to be able to control all your thought, no matter how much you practice. But some of the important thoughts you can control by speaking, because what happens is, out of those 60 to 70% thought, they are very similar. 90 to 95% of the thoughts are very similar. Even if they're not same, they're all connected. Like if you're thinking about finding a right partner, and that is one of your biggest priority, that could be 60% of your thought could be around that. Oh, I have to find the right person. I have to go out and create a dating profile on a dating app. Oh, I have to make sure I create time for going out to date. Oh, I have to take new pictures for the dating sites. All of that, right? They are all related to the same thing, but you have this multiple thoughts going out throughout the day. So you can't control all of it, but what you can control is how you are thinking around it. So going back to, again, fantasy versus reality. So for speaking perspective, you have to start speaking about that I accept the person based on my non-negotiables, or you tell your friends about it, like, these are the 5 things that are really important to me, and and other things I can work with or whatever. So as you start speaking about it, your mindset will change. And let's say you are in an event and you meet somebody, and your mind will automatically kind of start picking out those people. And that's how because everything is energy, right? So the energy kind of shifts, and it kind of starts working in such a way so that you are attracted to the right person, and the right person is also attracted towards you. So that's why you have to start speaking it. And it all comes down to time, my friends. It all comes down to time. So that is why you don't want to spend time with the people that don't match your criteria. If you think that there is a potential, give some time, but give, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, and see how it goes. And then if it doesn't work out, come out, because you need the time to find the right person. Because if you are just, when you're in 20s, things are different. Now you're in, I don't know, 30s, 40s, 50s. Because I see on the analytics that folks who come here, all different age range, from actually 20s to, I don't know, like 60s, 70s even, but majority are from, I think, if I remember it right, yeah, it's 35 to 55. Actually, recently I saw from 25 to 55 is really high. So anyway, I just gave you guys some behind the scene information. Okay, so now comes the action part. So when it comes to action, make sure that you are following through with your own actions. So what I mean by that is, you are saying that, okay, these are my non-negotiables, and then when you are talking to somebody, somehow, let's say, I don't know, let's say you really like the person, how they look, right? And it could be the other thing, I don't know, how they talk. And you like it so much that just for the time being, you kind of put your non-negotiables away. And then you figure out later, it didn't work out. You have been there before, so I didn't want to, torture yourself again. You don't want to do that. If you want to give enough time, but don't fall for potential. So I'm going to give you a very simple example. So here's my Christmas cards. If you guys are also into Christmas, you'll be like, what is she talking about Christmas in, like, this is what, March? And I love Christmas. I'm like one of those Christmas people, like crazy Christmas, crazy Christmas people. I'm like that. So I watch all Hallmark movies starting like October. Sometimes I even watch some in September. So sometime my daughter and I celebrate Christmas in July. Not much, maybe like watch one movie or, I don't know, like cookies or something. And during the season, we just celebrate it for like a couple of months, if not more. So, and all Hallmark movies, all Christmas movies you can think of, I have watched it. So anyway, so the point I'm making here is why I'm getting into Christmas so much. Christmas is that important to me, right? So, say if I am going out on a date later, because right now I'm not, and I'm not ready, whatever, I have no time. Christmas is one of the very important things for me. So now, if I meet with somebody who's like, they hate Christmas, Grinch, not for me, right? So some things can be simple, but at the same time, for somebody, it can be very, very important. Now, if I think like, oh, you know what, that person maybe, I can make them like Christmas enough or something. I mean, you would see it like how much do they really like hate it, or do they really like, oh, I kind of like it, don't like it, because sometimes the hate could be relating to some childhood memories and things like that, and things like that do happen. So the point is, even though I'm giving you guys the example with the Christmas cup, just the point is, sometimes very simple things can make a big difference, because simple or little things, something that is so little for somebody else, for somebody, like for me, Christmas is a huge deal, right? So for you, something could be like a huge, may have huge importance in your life, and for somebody else, that may have had some deep cut from their childhood, or as they were growing up, different incidents and all of that. So that's where you have to be careful about this fantasy versus reality, the potential versus reality, right? I use the word fantasy because we kind of start thinking as the potential as a reality. So that potential equal to fantasy. You can put it that way, potential equal to fantasy, right? Reality is reality. Whoever you are going out with, what is real is going to be your reality. So when you're choosing the person, that's how you have to choose. You can't go for the potential. So if you are going from one relationship to the next, where you had a breakup from a long-term relationship, or you had a divorce, now you are ready, or you're at least getting ready, all of these are very, very important thing to remember, because what you don't want to do is fall for the potential or fantasy again, right? Because it is harder to change when you are in 20s and 30s. It is a lot harder to change when you are in 40s, 50s, or 60s. So you gotta go with whatever you see. No changes. If there are any changes that happens, that's a bonus. But you cannot go with that, oh, this will change, right? But again, I'm not telling you guys to completely have this 10 bullet points for your criteria, but it is important to know what your non-negotiables are, right? So that will make you happier. Okay, so with that, again, we talked about not falling for fantasy, create some speaking actions, start speaking with your friends, and when it comes to action, write it down and think of your version of the Christmas cup, whatever that is. So something that may be small but really important to you, that could be your non-negotiables, but it is important for you to know that so that you pick the right person. So tomorrow we are going to talk about boundaries. Boundaries is very, 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 very key in a relationship. Not about just boundaries between you two, boundaries people around you, your closest friends, your families, because when the boundaries are broken, things mess up. A lot of relationship break for not having clear boundaries. And sometimes the boundaries are the boundaries are created based on fear or power. So there are two types of boundaries created based on fear or power. Anyway, I'm going to cover that tomorrow. Boundaries, extremely important topic. Boundaries that are created based on fear or power. What do you think your boundaries are created, or you have no boundaries? Join me tomorrow to find out more about that. Bye.